First up on the show, the war between Hamas and Israel has entered its second month, with the civilian casualties in the besieged Gaza Strip crossing 10,000, according to Hamas. Israel's Prime Minister has meanwhile proposed to manage the overall security of Gaza for an indefinite period after the fighting ends, while agreeing to humanitarian pauses as well. Now, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel would consider tactical little pauses in fighting in the Gaza Strip so as to let hostages leave or allow aid to get through. He, however, rejected calls for a ceasefire despite international pressure. Listen in.
When we don't have that security responsibility, well, there will be no ceasefire, general ceasefire in Gaza without the release of our hostages. As far as tactical little pauses, an hour here, an hour there, we've had them before. I suppose we'll check the circumstances in order to enable goods, humanitarian goods to come in, or our hostages, individual hostages to leave. But I don't think there's going to be a general ceasefire.
Benjamin Netanyahu also highlighted his post-war plans in this press briefing.
Those who don't want to continue the way of Hamas, it certainly is not, I think Israel will, for an indefinite period, will have the overall security responsibility.
Meanwhile, Hamas's health ministry claims that the Israeli assault has killed 10,022 people, including 4,100 children in Gaza, while more than 2,300 people are still missing and are believed to be buried under the rubble of destroyed buildings. The Israeli offensive drew sharp criticism from within the United Nations, amplifying demands for a ceasefire. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called Gaza a graveyard for children. He said that 89 employees of the UN agency aiding Palestinian refugees, known as UNRWA, had been killed in Gaza in the 1 month of the war between Israel and Hamas. Meanwhile, the Egyptian Red Crescent Society has said that 448 trucks carrying 9,000 metric tons of humanitarian supplies have to date entered the Gaza Strip through the Rafah crossing on the border with Egypt. And according to the Palestine Red Crescent Society, 16 out of 35 hospitals are out of service and more are running out of fuel as Israel continues to target areas near hospitals, claiming the presence of Hamas network. The United Arab Emirates has vowed to set up a field hospital in the Gaza Strip, and according to reports, 5 aircraft flew out of Abu Dhabi for Arish in northern Egypt, carrying equipment and supplies for the 150-bed facility, while there was also no immediate information on how the equipment will be transferred to Gaza. The UAE had previously announced plans to bring about 1,000 Palestinian children and their families from the Gaza Strip for treatment at UAE hospitals. And well, our correspondent Jody Cohen has the latest from Israel on what next for the Netanyahu government.
It's 1 month today since the 7th of October massacre, when Hamas killed 1,400 people, fired thousands of rockets into Israel and took 240 people hostage in one day. You can see behind me a vigil with one empty seat at the tables for every person taken hostage. The 7th of October attack also brought huge suffering to the Gazan people as Israel attempts to dismantle Hamas, which it says is using civilians as human shields. So will Israel slow down, presuming it takes over northern Gaza? The Israel Defense Forces' goal is to defeat Hamas, so we could expect its offensive to end once this has been achieved. Remember, Hamas has stated that it aims to carry out more 7th of October-style massacres against Israelis, quote, again and again. Prime Minister Netanyahu has indicated that a ceasefire is not an option without the return of all the hostages. However, he has indicated that hours-long humanitarian tactical pauses could be an option to enable aid to enter Gaza or hostages to leave. This is Jody Cohen for WION World as One.